Now, a 25% import tariff on all foreign-built vehicles entering the United States has raised serious concerns for manufacturers in South Africa. Automotive giants like Mercedes and BMW have long used South Africa as a base for global exports, but those plans may be shifting into reverse gear after the US announced the punitive measures. Mike Mabasa, CEO of the National Association of Automobile Manufacturers of South Africa, had this to say.
If you take, for example, BMW, 97% of the X3 that we're producing in Roslyn is exported out of the country. We only sell 3% in South Africa. There's a huge number of those vehicles that also goes into the US. So, there are companies in South Africa that are purely here, not because they are selling vehicles in South Africa. They are here to produce vehicles for the global market. And it's important for them to remain globally competitive.
US automaker Ford, which has deep roots in South Africa, is also in the crosshairs. The company recently invested over $300 million to upgrade its Silverton plant in Pretoria, South Africa, for the production of the world's only plug-in hybrid Ranger, which has just entered production but could face delays or restrictions.
If an American citizen wants to buy specifically a Ford Ranger that is a plug-in hybrid, they can only place an order in South Africa, nowhere else in the world. So what that means is that obviously, the capacity of Ford to be able to produce those vehicles, in big volumes is going to be constrained, because the Americans are going to be looking at another Ford that is produced in another country or even in the United States.
South Africa has long enjoyed duty-free automotive exports to the US under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, but that relationship now hangs in the balance. A sharp shift in US foreign policy threatens to derail an industry that employs thousands and contributes around 5% to the country's economy. Pax Tau, South Africa's Minister of Trade and Industry, said they produce less than 1% of global automotive vehicles, and this is what he had to say.
We produce less than 1% of global automotive vehicles, so to say. So in reality, the impact on us is likely to be more disproportionate and those of our peers that produce at the same level. And the risk is actually creating a concentration risk in countries that have greater capacity and are building more, and those countries would be able to absorb some of this.
Now, amid growing concerns about over-reliance on the US market, Amit Singh, National Manager for Manufacturing at Nedbank Commercial Bank, emphasized the importance of tapping into regional trade opportunities.
I think we need to make better use of some of our local agreements, our African continental agreement. How do we leverage that? How do we partner with government and private sector to start benefiting the countries and the economies aside for the United States? So this could be the catalyst to drive our localization projects. It could be what we need to drive the African economy, as opposed to be completely reliant on the States.
South Africa is for now standing firm on its decision not to retaliate against steep US import tariffs set to take effect in just a few days. Officials in Pretoria acknowledge the challenges posed by the current US administration, but are pursuing a diplomatic approach in hopes of maintaining stable relations and preserving the African Growth and Opportunity Act.